Test, test, test. Welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. Sorry for the late start. I really actually didn't know what to do. And then I remembered that one of our good friends, Don, who's in the chat, thanks for being here, Don, made a request, and I was like, oh, that's pretty easy, I guess. And I could try to do it live. So what I'm going to try to do is actually, I haven't started this at all. I'm going to do it live. So if I fail, it's Don's fault. No, just kidding. I may or may not be able to succeed because I haven't planned this at all. Hold on, that music's really loud. Let's move that over there. So let's open our folder, and then we can switch over. But welcome in, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming in. We're going to go into the live modding, which we haven't done in a while, which is kind of exciting. And we will see what happens. And there we go. Welcome in, everybody. I see David and Don and Matt and Bruce's Gaming. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for being here. We don't need that one. All right, what are we going to do? We are going to take Silverrun Forest, which I have comments about Silverrun Forest. Silverrun Forest is a great map. I think Silverrun Forest is a great map. I like it. FS25 version is great, except it's kind of standalone. It lives on its own in its own world because you can't use any of the cool stuff on Silverrun Forest anywhere else. So how do we fix that? Well, let's fix it. All right. First of all, we're gonna go into our mod folder, and this you guys can follow along if you want. You can kind of copy the same things if you want. I'll provide this file once I'm done. So you can see what's happening. So as you can see, I just have my mod folder with a bunch of other stuff in it, and other stuff we've worked on during these live streams. But as you can see, I've downloaded Silverrun. And Silverrun requires the Volvo pack and the 911 harvester. We're not going to touch those for now. Maybe we'll touch them next time. But I'm going to just unzip Silverrun Forest, all of it. But I'm not going to unzip it to Silverrun, the same folder name. I'm going to call this a Silverrun Forest Productions. Right? That's what I'm going to call it. Silverrun Forest Productions. Extract. Now, I understand that I'm extracting the whole map into a folder called Productions. That's what we're going to fix today. Today's effort, instead of being more additive, so like if you think of when you add to things and you add to a folder, you're adding new things. You're making changes, you're fixing things, you're changing, you're adding new functionality. We're actually going to do the opposite today. We're going to be subtractive today. Because Silverrun Forest is a map. But we don't want the map itself. We just want all the stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to extract the stuff from the Silverrun Forest that we want. And I'm going to extract one extra thing as a nice little bonus in case anyone wants it while we're here. So what we're going to do is we're going to extract the productions, and we're going to extract the fill types, we're going to extract the palettes, and all of the stuff that comes with it. So all of the Silverrun production stuff, we're going to take it out into a standalone mod so that we can put it on any map. And we might even, I think I did for the weekend. Yeah. We might even add to this later, but for right now I'm just gonna keep this productions. The one other thing that would be fun is to take the roller coaster and include that in this production pack. That's a lot more work. Maybe we'll do that next time, but for now we're just gonna start with the map. So what do we have in our folder here? Now it's hard to see because I have a let's make this bigger, I guess. Can I make this bigger? View extra large icons, maybe. That doesn't really help the size of it. So sorry. What do we have here? We have, I like the list. We have fill planes, which are going to be what it looks like what the stuff looks like when it's being filled. So in our fill planes, we're going to have iron, basically. We want that. We definitely want that. Foliage is going to include all of the custom bushes and hedges and ground plants and stuff like that. Those are part of the map, so we don't need those. Goodbye. Oh wait, I'm still looking at the zip file. We want to come over here to this. So foliage, we don't need. Delete. Goodbye. I just hit delete. Come on, delete. We don't need the map. Pretty much at all. Let's make sure. Missions. No, don't need that. License plate, environment, maps, textures. No, we don't need any of that. So we're going to delete the map. Gone. Now we don't have a map anymore, which is fine. Menu, HUD, fill types. These are the fill type things. I don't actually like this folder structure, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to hit Control X. Why is this not working? Why is my keyboard not working? Control X. And I'm going to put this right here. Oh, you know what? Actually, undo. I just realized what I forgot. I forgot something. Where's my trash icon? Open. I don't want to delete the map, actually. Let's restore. Undo, delete. Okay. So what we want is we want a new folder. Fill types. Because we want the fill types from the map. We need that. We need to keep that. So let's kind of open this in a new window. How do I do that? Open a new window. Okay. So what we want from the map, we want the fill types. What do we need from the fill types? Cancel. Go away. This is. Oh, that's why my computer's being slow. There's like a little warning in the background that I didn't see. All right. So in the fill types, we want to keep a few things in here. This is the map config. Farmlands map fill types. Where are the fill types? Why are they not here? Fruit types? Maybe they added all the fill types into the base game. Doesn't make sense. So again, I am looking at this myself for the first time. Well, I mean, if they're the fill types from the base game, we can always look at the base game. We look in the fill types here. These are the base game fill types that every map gets. Fill type tarp? What the hell is a fill type? Oh, they have made a fill type for the tarp? That's weird. Barrel, bathtub, bucket, roof plates. Oh, cool. So all the fill types, except for iron ore, all of the fill types are actually built into the base game. So that's kind of cool. So all of our products, all of these weird products that are custom to that map, are in our base game fill types now. So we don't even have to add it in the mod. The only thing we really have to add is the lime, right? So that saves ourselves a little bit of work. Okay, cool. So in this fill types folder, That saves ourselves some work. Is there anything from the map that we need then? I don't think there is. Tree types. All the new tree types, but we don't want that. That's not for now. That's for later. Tree types, bales, fruit types. Additional files. No, I don't need any of this. I really don't think we need any of this stuff from the map. But we want this. So, menu, fill types, this right here, we do want. See, here's the thing. This is what they did. This is kind of a silly thing, and I don't understand this, but it looks like, oh, here, it's right here in the root. So the fill types are here. And then they have, okay. All right, I'm understanding what's going on here. I have to understand their stuff because they do stuff in weird ways. This is ours. So we need the fill types. We need the mod desk. We can leave the folder structure alone, I guess. So we don't need map. We need placeables. What's in objects? Palettes. These are all the custom palettes. Cool. Trees we don't need. But this is how to get the trees. If you want the trees for your own map, delete. And delete. So we don't need the map. All right. So our Silverrun Forest Productions is now fill planes, the menu, which is the HUD fill types for each HUD. Basically, these are the little icons for like the pepper grinder, the icon for the easel, the custom stuff that's custom specifically to Silverrun, which is what we're adding. These are all the objects for those same items. Here's the fill types for those same items. And since we didn't change the menu things, basically for each one, we're defining a HUD, which is the little icon. And then we're defining a palette, which is the palette, right? So now we have all of this stuff, yada, yada, yada. This is all the fill types for this map. This is going to be super easy. And then in our mod desk here, this is the mod description. Hey, Tobo, welcome in. This is Silverrun Forest. I'm not even going to put any effort here. Silverrun Forest Productions. Not even going to bother to translate it because I don't care. And so all we're going to do is, this is the mod desk. So what does a mod desk do? This is a tutorial I'm going to do separately, but for this kind of quick tutorial, what does the mod desk do? The mod desk is called, the name is mod desk, it's file name, but what it is the mod description. So it describes to the game engine, that's who it's communicating with, it's talking to the game engine and telling the game engine, hey, this is the stuff you need to load, and this is how you need to load it. And then once you load it, then it's in the game engine's memory, and then the game engine can use it. So when you add a mod, you're telling it what to do. So this mod desk is for a map, but we don't want the map anymore. So all we're going to do is come down here and say, well, we don't want the map anymore, so goodbye. The map's gone. So this mod desk is no longer loading a map because we deleted the folder, and now we're deleting it from the mod desk. So you have to delete it in both places. You can't just delete it in one and not the other. You have to delete both. Totally simple. And then for placeables, these are all of the things that the map wants to place down, right, as a placeable. So everything in this list, right, is part of this folder. So we have this placeables, brand lists, and we have all of these placeables that are custom to Silverrun Forest. Some of them, like cabin 12, like we look in here, so player houses, cabin 12. And if we look at the XML for cabin 12, it can be sold in the store and it can be sold if you buy it. So this is one of the player houses, the ones that are included in Silverrun, but they're not on any other map. So what we're going to do is we're going to make those included on any map. So we're just going to take... Why is Steam Elements saying enter a message? What the heck? I'll fix that later. Sorry, Steam Elements is being weird. I think it messed up my system. Bad Steam on. We're gonna comment this out. Am I live? I'm live. We're gonna comment the stuff that we don't want. So all of the rest of this stuff is for the map. So the roller coaster, the selling stations for the stations, random selling points, Sunnyside Cafe, fire department, blah, 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 blah. We don't need all of that stuff because that's stuff for the map. Right? So I'm just going to comment it out for now and leave what we need. We want... Do we want the boatyard? Sure. No, we don't want the boatyard. Boatyard's map specific. We don't need that. That's boring. The sawmills, we don't need the sawmills for now because these are triggers, not the actual sawmill. We could eventually make the sawmill itself into a placeable, which would be freaking fantastic. But right now, all we want is barrel factory, furniture factory, flooring factory, iron furnace, mining shaft, tower, placeable. We don't want the tower itself. That's the one that's on the map. We want the placeable one, I think. Pet accessory factory, picture frame factory, shingle factory, wood turner. Those are the ones we want. And then for the rest of the stuff, we need the rest of it too. Yeah, those are not productions. Those are factories, right? Which is how they're called in the game. If we open up brandless roller coaster.xml, see how this is a placeable type roller coaster? It's not a production point. So what we're focusing on right now is a production point, but we can do it as a separate mod later on. That's totally possible. Well, maybe we'll do that next time. And then we need all of the stuff that supports those production points that we're pulling out. Really, the primary focus here is just the iron mine and the steel factory, but it'd be cool to get all the other ones too. So we're going to get them anyways because it kind of comes for free. So these are all the pallets that we're introducing, which is great. And these are all the plants the map introduces, which I don't care. So I'm just going to delete them. And then... This is the train. We don't need selling points. We don't need the special selling stations. We don't need the gas station. We don't need the roller coaster. Just delete all of that stuff. We're not going to comment it out. I'm changing my mind. I'm going to delete it. We don't want the sawmill old sugar, and we don't want the player houses because we're doing placeables, not... we're doing productions, not placeable. So we're going to come over here, change this to say productions. Okay. Then the other thing that's critical here, if we keep scrolling down, fill types. Well, the fill types.xml, we already have. This has all of the fill types that we want, right? Which is all of the stuff, iron ore, armor, burnt house, all of the pallets and stuff like that, right? Those are the fill types that are custom. This is really what we want. This is the key of everything. So we want that. We don't want the density map height types. We don't need that. Actually, no, we do. We do need the density map height types because if we look at it, though we deleted it, so let's get it again. We deleted it by accident, but we're trying to trim down what we want. So we're going to unzip Silverrun Forest again. Extract all. We're going to not rename it this time. Just so I don't lose it. Takes a while. Anyways, and then this map, the map has dependencies on the Volvo and the Harvester, but we don't have dependencies on that, so we don't care. We do need this one, this placeable type right here. This is for the mining shaft. So the mining shaft has this custom placeable type, which is basically, it has both a production and a heap spawner. So it uses the production point code and also spawns heaps. So I think we need this. I'm pretty sure we can check. So let's go and check at the mining shaft tower while we're waiting for the map to unzip. Placeables, brandless, production points generic. I don't understand why they always have this extra folder, mining shaft tower. So there's two, mining shaft tower and mining shaft tower placeable. What are the difference between these two? Well, let's compare. I'm going to do this. We're going to go compare active file with this one and there. Close that. Close that. This is the difference between mining shaft tower and mining shaft tower placeable. This one, the placeable, is a heap spawner buying station, and this one is just a heap spawner, right? So this one right here, the production power placeable, the production mining shaft tower, which is the one on the left, says show in store false, which means you can't buy it. So this is the one that's actually on the map. This one is the one that you place is just a heap spawner, which is what we want. And that's the only difference. But this one has a buying station. So this is the one that's actually on the map so that you can just get stuff. This one you actually have to place down on a land you own. And the reason the buying station is there is to make sure that you can just keep getting iron. So we don't want mining shaft tower. We want mining shaft tower placeable. And that's how you look at the two difference. And doing it this way, doing the way they did it, is technically not needed. They could have just had another file that was like 5 lines of code that would have copied these two. But for whatever reason, they like copying and pasting instead of doing things the way it's supposed to be done. That's giants for you, whatever. I could have done this file right here in 4 lines of code. But, you know, whatever. So we're going to use the mining shaft tower placeable, not the mining shaft tower, which is what we want. So we know we don't want the tower anymore because that's the one that's on the map. And we don't want the boatyard because that's stupid. And then we also don't need this production point heap spawner, because that is something different. But I think maybe I'll leave it there for now. I don't think it's needed, but yeah. And the last thing we needed was the density map height types. So go back over to this Silverrun Forest that we just unzipped. Now Silverrun Forest, and let's do this to make sure. So we have Silverrun Forest and Silverrun Forest Productions, right? Silverrun Forest, we need map, config, this file, copy. We go over to our own, and we need paste. Density map height types. So what is that file? Why was that file so important? Let's look at it. The density map height types, basically it adds the density map height type. So what is the density map height? What even is that? That's just like gobbledygook for most people. So the density map is something that can be emptied onto the ground, something that ends up on the ground in a pile, and the density of that thing. So you can see here where it says collision scale, base offset, max offset, allows smoothing, all that kind of stuff. Basically, a pile of stuff and how that pile of stuff interacts with the world around it. So, like iron ore is going to have a higher density, the collision scale, how dense it is, than, let's say, chaff, right? Because chaff needs to be compacted. You can look at this density map height types file in the base game, which is right here. And if we look, this is the density map height types for the base game, for all of the base game products. And if we look in here and we see all the kind of stuff like grass windrow, right? It has a collision scale of 0.35, right? Or liquid manure has a collision scale of 1, like it's water. Stone has a collision scale of 0.8. And all of this stuff, like some of it can allow smoothing, can be tipped. Like green beans, there's code in the game that says, no, you can't tip those to the ground. This right here is what stops you from being able to tip green beans onto the ground, which I think is kind of silly. But whatever. And you also notice that is there anything on here that says allows smoothing equals true? They all say allow smoothing equals false, which is silly. Why didn't you just make the default true? Oh, here it is. Chaff allow smoothing equals true. So chaff allows you to smooth it, to compact it. It's the only one that has allow smoothing equals true. If I was them, I would have set the default to be false and only set this one to be true for this one property, which means I could have removed all of this code from the game, which would have been awesome. Anyways, back to what we're building. Enough commenting about how Giants doesn't do things properly. Anyways, so what this is doing is basically saying, hey, map or game engine, you need to know that I'm introducing this thing, iron ore, that can be tipped to the ground. And when it gets tipped to the ground, this is how it acts. Its max surface angle is 32. We could set that to max surface angle 15. So surface angle is like, if I'm tipping a pyramid of chaff or whatever, 35, the angle of this side is 32. So the maximum angle for iron ore is 32. If we wanted it to be a steep triangle, we could set it to max surface angle of 45. And it would be a much steeper triangle. If we wanted it to be a shallow triangle like this, we'd set the max surface angle to 15 or something, right? And so that's how it actually defines the angle of those piles when it tips it to the ground. Now, of course, there's a lot of other stuff that goes in for deformation, all kind of stuff that changes that. But in general, we're defining the maximum angle between the ground and the thing, the max surface angle. So we want something that's with a smaller pile be a max surface angle of 15 or 20. A larger pile, max surface angle of 45 or 50 or whatever, right? That's up to the game. So it's default to 32. I'm going to leave it alone, but that's what it means. And since we're adding iron ore as a fill type, that's the important part of what we're doing today. We need to make sure we have the density map height type set. And then that's it. So now we have a... I'm going to take ownership of this beast. It's 96. You got your version wrong. Come on, Giants, update your stuff. And then that's it. So we just created a mod that gives us all this stuff. So let's test it. I love testing stuff live because I know it's going to break, or I hope it's not going to break. And then there's that one little minute chance that I will do something right and it will work the first time. So let's see if I did everything right. So what we're going to do is what Giants doesn't want us to do is we're going to go into like Hutan Pantai. I don't know. What map do you guys want? What base game map do you want to use? I don't have any other maps in this folder. So what base game map do you want to use? Do you want to use Riverbend Springs, Hutan Pantai, or Zelonka? Somebody, first person to say something in the chat wins. Come on, somebody tell me what map. Zelonka, Mortar. Oh, wow, jumping in there, Mortar. Good job. Zelonka. All right, we're going to go into Zelonka. We're going to give ourselves a lot of money. We're going to continue. We're not going to use the Komatsu Harvester. We don't care. Volvo Pack, goodbye. We're not going to include our custom stuff. We did use Zelonka for the cement factory. We'll keep our Ridge Track. We don't need that. The only thing I'm adding in is the Silverrun Forest. You know what? We should just call it Silverrun Productions. I don't like that name. We're going to call it Silverrun Productions. And the reason I'm changing the name is because on this menu here, it like gets cut off. I don't want it to get cut off. That's stupid. So, Silverrun Forest, we're going to just call it Silverrun Productions, right? Start. And then we're going to look at the error messages. And we did see one error message there. I did see it there as I was scrolling by. We're going to go look at what that error message was. Because I did see an error, so I didn't do everything right. Let's come in here. I don't need that. This one. No, that's the data directory. How many windows do I have open? Oh. Open folder. We're going to go look at our FarmSim25 folder. These are my game settings files, what you guys don't need to see. Well, it doesn't matter. You can see it if you want. And then there's error. So if I look for the word error, right? If I look for the word, I just searched the log file. So this is your log file. I'm searching for the word error, and oh, I forgot to update the path for density map height types. That was my bad. Okay. Everything else should work, so we'll fix that in a minute. So that just means we won't be able to tip iron ore to the ground, which is fine. I'll show you what happens when it doesn't. So now we're on Zelonka. Whoopity-doo. If we go in here to construction, and we go over here to factories, now we should have all of the factories that were on Silverrun. So we have the barrel factory, we have whatever that one is, the furniture factory, we have the flooring factory, we have the metal place, and we have the creme de la creme, the heap spawning monkey chicken, whatever it's called. I don't even know what it's called. I'm just putting the rest of them on here. Look at all of these factories. Look at all this stuff I can do. What was that quote from not enough money? I already spent all my money. I already spent $1 million. Okay, more money. And then the last one was this one. So now we're on Zelonka, and we have the Iron Peaks thing, and it's spawning. See that? Look, it's spawning iron ore, but it's not showing up the ground. Why is it not showing up on the ground? Anyone know that answer? Pop quiz for anyone who's here. Oh, that wheat looks stupid. Construction. Painting. Pop quiz. Who knows why it's not showing up? Does anyone know? Yes, correct. Because I didn't have the density map height types file in the game properly. Right? That's why. So once we get it in there properly, it should work. Okay. So we're getting rid of this field. We don't care. We're just testing right now. All we're doing is testing. So we have all of our factories, right? Looks good. Everything looks like fantastic. If we go into our production menu, we have all of these things. All of them have icons. All of them have planks, long, easel, all the kind of stuff. Furniture factory, armware, chair, table, iron furnace, iron ore and metal, pet accessories, yada, yada, yada. Lots of stuff to do with wood and iron and whatnot. Cool. Now we can make everything. Now, let's fix the iron ore. We can't tip to the ground yet. So what is the heap spawner doing? The heap spawner is actually tipping to the ground. And the reason why there's nothing showing up is because we messed up our density map height types. So that's why that density map height types is needed, because it tells the game how to calculate a product when it's tipped to the ground. That's what it's there for. So, God, that Stream Elements thing saying enter a message every 5 minutes is really annoying. Come on, Stream Elements. Alright, so let's save. Because I don't want to have to replace everything down again. Let's go out. Really, all we have to do is go out and come back in. So let's go like this. Quit. While we're there, I'll fix Stream Elements. No. Thank you. I must have forgot to hit a button or something. Chatbot, chat commands, timers. I totally saved this. Whatever. Just turn it off. I was creating a new timer for like I had another timer here for the one that was saying, hey, we're working towards 10,000 or 1,000 subscribers or whatever. But apparently it's not working. Whatever. Okay. All right, back to what we're actually doing. So we changed this density map height types to do that. Done. Was there anything else we need to fix? No, everything else was working. And I just made a production mod from Silverrun Forest in 40 minutes, maybe 35 minutes. Win. I also want to. Maybe we can do the do the next one now, because we have so much time on our hands. There we go. My game save Zelanka. Start. Yeah, if you notice, I don't know if you noticed with that splash. It says Silverrun Forest Productions instead of Silverrun. It says Silverrun Productions instead of Silverrun Forest Production. Oh yeah. What do you mean by that? Dawn asked a good question. Mortar, no. They would not approve this because I'm not adding any value. But I am, actually. I could try to submit it. I mean, if you guys want me to, I'll try. And I'll put the comment in I'll submit it to ModHub and be like, I'm doing all the stuff that you should have done yourself. Is there a blank face emoji? Like, come on. Is there an emoji for that I can include in my ModHub message? Like, this took me 20 minutes. Like, why didn't they do this? It could have been a required mod of Silverrun Forest and just tied the two together and be done with it. And look, now we're getting heaps of iron ore. Whoopity-doo. Whoopity-doo. And so we need, let's see here. Let's test it. Let's come in here. We're going to get a skid steer for funsies. I don't know why. I like the Kubota skid steer, even though it's freaking hurts my eyes. Skid steer loader tools, high dump bucket. Buy, yes. David, I like the second one, the closed eyes one. Like, come on, why didn't you do this? Maybe I should have picked a skid steer that didn't go 12 kilometers an hour. Luckily, I'm not going for. And so what we're doing here is we're going to test them. So whenever you do make productions or anything like that, you got to test them. I know Giants tested them, but we're going to test them more. Yeah, I know. The Kubota one that one of our channel members made, McGarrett DK, his goes super fast. I had one that went faster too. I just don't have that in my mod folder, so I should use it, and I haven't played the game in like a couple weeks. So one thing to note with the heap spawner and the way the heap spawner works, this is the second heap spawner I've made too, cool, is I can't just sit here underneath the spout and get it. That doesn't work, right? So the heap spawner, so you understand what's happening, these little balls that are coming out, which kind of look annoying because they're so big, but whatever, it's just an animation. So the stuff coming out is not physical, it's just an animation. The code basically says, hey, spawn that animation right here on the ground. And so we have to, if we want to pick it up, scoop with our bucket. Dump the bucket on the ground. Because of our intense angle. Doing a bucket with my mouse is not fun. I don't know. Oh, no. Why can't this thing keep the bucket higher? It's dumb. So we're going to come over here to our iron production. We're going to take our 381 liters of iron ore, and we're going to drop them in the steel production. Goes into the steel production. Steel production works just like it said it should. And then if we come in here, oops, if we come in here and we look at our steel production, iron furnace now has iron ore. It would start creating iron rolls if we cared. Yada, yada, yada. Done. So, that's fun, but that's boring. Because we all know Giants' productions are super slow. So let's speed up all the... If we're going to make a production pack and we're going to steal all the productions, let's just make them faster and better and more awesome. So let's do that. So we're going to come in here, save. We're going to spend 5 minutes. Somebody start a timer for 5 minutes to make all of the productions better. This is how you speed up production. So if people are using stuff like Stevie's pack and other production packs where they're taking base game stuff and they're making it better, how do they do it? Well, we have all the code here. Might as well look at it. First, the mining. So we don't need that. We don't need cabin 12. We could probably delete a lot of this stuff like this. We can make our mod nice and small by deleting that stuff. All we really need is paper factory, sawmill new, sawmill conveyors. Need that. Sawmill old, shingle factory, wood turner. We don't need this or this or that. Delete. We're gonna make our mod as small as possible. We don't need the Rudolf Horman stuff. Goodbye. I don't care about you, Rudolf Horman. You are make crappy stuff. We don't need a warehouse. Delete. Goodbye. We don't need a train system. Delete. Goodbye. We're cleaning up our file now that we know everything works. We don't need any of the selling points. Those are specific to the map. We don't need the selling straight. We don't need the roller coaster. Selling station vehicles. We don't need any of that stuff. Goodbye. Placeable. So placeables goes right into production points. That's all we kept was the production points. Cool. Mining shaft tower. Technically, we could delete this file, which is not needed, but whatever. I'm gonna leave it alone. So this is our mining shaft tower. The mining shaft tower is a heap spawner. All it does is drop stuff. So what is the most important? The heap. So this is the heap spawner code. So we can do this and do K2 and just, I don't want to care. I don't care about anything else. I'm going to move everything else out of my way. I don't want to look at it. I don't care. Heap spawner. It produces 2,000 liters per hour. That's kind of sucks. So the heap, so just, I've messed with this a lot. And the heap spawner is basically how fast does that pile of iron ore create itself, right? And so it will, so the pile itself takes about, I think it was about 20,000 liters or so to make a whole pile. So, and we can measure it if we really want to. I don't have time to do that right now. I think it's about 20,000 liters in that pile. So if you completely clear out the pile, it will take an hour. It will take how many hours do we want it to take to create a new pile? So if I create a new pile and I drive away and I deliver it to the steel factory and then I come back, will there be a new pile or not? So right, their setting was 2,000 liters per hour. So if the pile is 20,000 liters, then it would take 10 hours to create that pile. That sucks. So I'm just going to make it happen in an hour. So 20,000 liters per hour, right? That means the iron is just creating as fast as possible. You can set this to any number you want. There's no way to make it configurable, unfortunately. Like, it would be great if you could place it down and you could make a configuration that says, hey, I want a fast spawner and I want a slow spawner. The quick way, so there's two ways to do it, right? The way that, so this is like the base game ones, right? Let's say hypothetically, I wanted to have 2 mineshaft tower placeables. I want one that's the base game one. It's as simple as possible. And I want another one that is super fast. I want a fast version, right? There's 2 ways to do that. One is I could just copy and paste, copy this file. That sucks. That's boring. The other one, the other way to do it is to extend it. Now, what does that mean? So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take this one. I'm just going to rename this because it's in the same folder. We're going to do mining shaft tower fast. All right. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to delete everything. Everything gone. Okay. It's a heap spawner. And we're going to use the parent file directive. What is the parent file directive? What does that mean? Parent file directive is something that is built into the game so that one file can extend another file. That's how it's set up. So what's a good example of how that works? Well, let's look in the data directory, which is the other most important file? I closed it for some reason. New window. Let's look in our data directory to find out what uses the parent file directory. There's a few things that use it, but let's look for an example. So I don't care about that. I don't care about that. We're going to find parent file. So what's a good example? Here's a good example. Everyone loves the John Deere 9R, right? In the store, there's a John Deere 9R and there's a John Deere 9RX. They're actually the same file, sort of. They're the same i3D file. The vehicle i3D, the model is the same. It's just one has tracks and one doesn't. And because John Deere is John Deere, they wanted the one that has tracks to be named differently than the one that has wheels. But they're technically the same file. That's why when you get a modded version of a John Deere 9R, it has both the tracks and the tires in the same model, in the same placeable, and you just select them, right? The way the game works, and the way the game does it, is it says, hey, I want a parent file. I want to say, hey, this file, the 9RX, the parent, so I'm basically saying, hey, copy this file and then make these changes to that file. So all of these are basically changes that you apply to that other file. And for what we're trying to do, we're going to do it super simple. I'm just going to copy this because it's a good example. And I'll go back over to what we're doing. So we want the parent file directive. I'm just going to place this here. Parent file. Okay. So we're not a vehicle. So let's get rid of the vehicle stuff. Replaceables, store data, name. This name is going to be store data, mineshaft tower. So we're going to make it value fast. And then we're going to change the name slightly. We're going to change the name to be... No, we're just going to change the name. I think this will work. So we're just going to change the name to be $ mining shaft tower space fast. So I should just add the word fast after the translated name for the mining shaft tower. We don't care about the image. We're going to make it cost more because that makes sense. So what's the original price? The original price is $250,000. So we're going to make this one $260,000. Is that right? The number of zeros? Cool. And then let's think about what's the difference? What's going to be the difference between these two files? Why do we care? The only thing we care about is this heap spawner spawn area liters per hour. So if we take this copy and put this right here, we want heap spawner dot spawn area and then pound liters per hour. Then we want to set the liters per hour to be 20,000, right? And that's it. So what is this? How is this, like, what does that even mean? Placeable heap spawner spawner. What does that mean? If you look at the code and look at like the tree, right? XML is a tree, it's a hierarchical markup. So the top level of that hierarchy is the word placeable. The next level of that hierarchy is heap spawner. So placeable dot heap spawner. It's called dot notation. And so when you're using dot notation, it's just level, next level, next level, next level, next level, right? As you move down. So placeable dot heap spawner dot spawn area. So dot dot dot, which is what we did. Heap spawner spawn area. And then properties within the level you got to are denoted by a pound. So pound, like hashtag, and then the property, hashtag property name, hashtag property name. And then I'm basically telling the game engine, take this, take that old thing, take that parent file, and override the override the liters per hour. That's all I'm doing. And then if I want that in the game, all I have to do is I go down to my mod desk and I go to the mining shaft tower placeable and copy, paste, and fast. Done. And now if we go into the game, we will have a fast version of the mining shaft tower. We can place down 2, and we'll put them side by side and watch how fast that pile gets created. That'll be fun. Hey, Jaked up. And so to make sure we're actually answering, so Silverrun Production, see how it says that? To make sure we're answering Don's previous question, is the amount on the ground, does it stay the same unless you change the properties of the heap spawn? So the amount on the ground is on the ground. So it's already been tipped to ground. That's the way the game considers it. It's been tipped to ground. So the heap spawner creates something essentially coming out of a trailer or whatever. It's something tipping to the ground. And so once it's on the ground, it has value. So you can scoop it up regardless of how big the pile is. But once you scoop it up, what you scooped goes away because it's been created onto the map and you're picking it up. Just like any other thing that you're tipping to the ground. The heap spawner is just basically creating that tip from nothing. And that's essentially what it's doing. So the pile will be smaller based on how you pick it up or how you drop it. And it'll just keep getting bigger, right? So it's going to keep getting bigger like this. And we're going to come in here. Let's flatten because this place is madness right now. Flatten. Make it nice and big. This is the game's annoying thing where it doesn't let you flatten where buildings are. You have to flatten around them kind of thing. But I'm just making sure that we're on the same level as the current one when we place down our second one. Okay. Yada, yada, yada. And then if we go over here to productions, factories, and we scroll down to the thing, land is not owned by me. It's not showing up. So why did it not show up? Let's see if we fix that. Oh, because I'm extending. Hold on, I forgot to extend the right thing. So file, save. That was my fault. I went too fast. Sometimes I gotta slow down. Quit. When I was showing you, I think I'm still extending the 9RX. Yeah, I'm still extending the 9RX, which doesn't do me any good. So we're going to copy relative path, come over here. We created a placeable that's an extension of the 9RX. So we're just going to go like that. And then we're going to do this, that. And so basically what we're doing is we're going to extend the mining shaft tower placeable. We're going to make it a copy of that. And this path here has to be the path in your folder, right? You can't just do mining shaft tower placeable. You can't just do this because it doesn't know where that is. So you have to tell the mod where it is, and it's always relative to your mod. So this is an extension of the mining shaft tower placeable. And that's how it is. Have you been able to follow the placeable script in GE? No, the placeable script is foobar right now. So GE, they messed that up. I'm assuming there's going to be a new version of GE that comes out that fixes that. They obviously messed it up with something they did in the update. I've been staying away from map making just because ain't care. I think it's all the pre-placed placeables. Those are the ones that are not working in GE. So we're going to go back in. Hopefully we're going to have a second heap spawner right now. A fast version. And so we'll just do that. We're going to go in and create fast versions of everything and just make them twice as fast, or 10x. So 10 times faster. We're going to do the changes to make everything 10 times faster. So start. Let's make sure this one worked, and then we'll do the rest of them kind of all at once. Construction. Yada, yada, yada. Coming down here. Seriously? Mining shaft tower stack placeable. Path not registered. What did I do? Oh gosh, I did that again? Mining shaft tower fast. Placeable type heap spawner. Parent file. Mining shaft tower. Why is this not loading? It's still loading the original one. I think it's cached. So let's just bump the version number. Mining shaft tower fast. Fast. It's pointing to mining shaft tower placeable. Placeable. Stored in a name. Placeable type heap spawner. It's all right. Yeah, Jake, the manual way is your best bet for now. Supposedly, there was a map released recently that figured out a way to do the pre-placed placeables and get it to work with anything, not just base game stuff. I forget, Needenthal, I think. But yeah. It's just not working right now. Start. Please work. No, it's still not working. Why is it not working? Mining shaft tower fast. Failing to validate placeable stored data for schema vehicle. Why is it still saying schema vehicle? Oh, I think I know why. Sorry, showing you guys internal code for my stuff. No, no. So I use this functionality, this extension thing, all the time. See? Here. But I think you need this right here. This needs to be there in the file. There. Because the category, this placeable species thing, I think is necessary. You need the store data for it to work right. I'm assuming that's why it's failing. Ran none. None placeable production points. Let's try that. There we go. Not seeing the same error. Yeah, not seeing the same error, so I think it's going to work. Instruction. Placeables. Now there should be two. Now there's two. One for 260, one for 250. One for 260 is right here. So we're going to go like here. We're going to place it right there. And then we can look at it and watch it, right? The animation speed is the same, right? We're not going to mess with the animation. This one is like, okay, I'm slowly filling up this pile. This one is like, this one has the same size pile as that one, and it's only been like 30 seconds. This one's been going for 10 minutes. So obviously this one is spawning a lot faster. Right? And if we speed up time, just because I'm not going to stand here watching them, if we speed up time, right? We'll go about an hour. So in game, we've gone about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. So this pile is basically at its max right now. So the pile's not going to get any bigger. That part of that is because of the heap spawn, the density map height type. If we look at it, look at the angle. You see this angle right here? That's a perfect 35-degree angle. If we wanted this pile to get taller, then we would have to make that angle taller. So if we change the angle from 35, or like if we wanted to come in and kind of mess with it, we come in here and change this to like 40, right? And if we exit out and come back in, we would see these piles change when they get created. So obviously this one's super fast. This one's slower, but it's 2,000 liters per hour. It's not that bad. But it's, you know, it's not creating it as fast, right? And that's how you'd make fast productions. And so we could do that for all of the productions. Let's just do one more production. Let's do the metal factory, because that's the ones that are most important. Okay. So the metal factory, let's look at the metal factory, because we really care about those two. That's the only ones we care about. We're going to do that. Close the mining shaft tower, and then the iron furnace. And we're going to take this one, and we're going to do file, save as. We're going to go up to the iron furnace. Change this to say iron furnace fast. Right? So now we're going to make a fast version of the iron furnace. Okay. So first of all, the name. Second, the thumbnail name, because that is not really important, but I'd like to be consistent. Price, $180,000. This one is going to be $190,000, so $10,000 more. And what makes the iron furnace, this is a regular production, what makes it fast? Let's look at here. So what makes a production a production? A production point is the production point and the cycles per hour. So how fast a production point produces is based on the cycles per hour. So if we do the same dot notation, it'd be placeable, production point, productions, production, cycles per hour. So let's go do that. So placeable, production point, productions dot production 0. When you number things in dot notation, it always starts with a 0, not 1. 0 is the first item in a list. If there's multiple things in that list, then you would have 2, 3, 4. But 0 is always the first one. And then cycles per hour. We want cycles per hour. Currently, the cycles per hour are 1 cycle per hour. So if we change this to 10 cycles per hour, it's 10 times as fast, right? Now, what else makes a production a production? The other thing I would always do is I would change the storage amounts. So a production, if it only allows you to put in 6,000 things, but we just made it 10 times as fast, that means it's going to burn through its ability 10 times faster. So I'm going to make the capacity 10 times as much. So again, we go through the dot notation. Oops, where am I going? We're going to do dot notation. We're going to do placeable, production point, storage, capacity. So we're going to come in here, placeable, production point, storage, capacity 0. So placeable, production point, storage, capacity. There's more than one, so we have to index them by their indexing means like defining the first one, second one, third one. You have to number them, and that's called indexing. The first one, the 0 one, is 60,000, but we want it to be 600,000 because it's going to be 10 times as fast. And the key, the value we want to change is capacity. So we're going to change the capacity 600,000. And we're going to change the capacity of the second one to 200,000 because we have an iron furnace. It was 20,000, now it's 200,000. And that's it. That's all we're going to change. So all we're doing is changing the cycles per hour to be 10. So it's going to be 10 times as fast. And the capacity is now up to 600,000 and 200,000, which makes it faster. And then the last thing to check, we're not doing a heap spawner anymore. Iron furnace is a production point. So we need to make sure we update this thing up here, the type, if you're copying files. And then we also need to make sure we're referring to the right file. So copy relative path. We want iron furnace, iron furnace. That's the one we're extending. So now we have an iron furnace, fast, which is extending the regular iron furnace. It's changing the name to fast. It's changing the price by $10,000 more, making it 10 times as fast with 10 times as much capacity. And then the last thing is going to our mod desk and find the iron furnace and underscore fast, save, go into the game. Yes, I know. Now, if you wanted to make, when you're making a production, it's a separate whole topic. But maybe next time, I can teach everyone how to take a production and stack pallets. Stacking pallets is great. But stacking pallets by default doesn't happen. You have to actually do stuff in GE and in the XML to make stacking pallets happen. I could show you right now. Yeah, we could show you right now. Show you right now. Anyways, first of all, I'll show you right now. You got time. So yeah, thank you for bringing that topic up, Don. We'll stack pallets because stacking pallets is the best. Okay. So if we come over here to our iron peaks, those are all still going. We need another steel thing. Let's go in here. Is there a quick way to go into construction mode? I never know. So we don't want that one anymore. Okay. Flatten. GS farmland by all. I want all the land. I don't want some of it. I want all of it. So we can test our theories. Paint. So we can see what we're doing. Yada, yada, yada. And then we go into our production menu. We scroll down to the wherever the iron thing is. Now there's two of them. One's for 180, iron furnace, and the iron furnace fast. Now, as you can see right here, we're having a problem with our translations. We'll fix that in a second. But it doesn't like the whole fast thing. Basically, we're going to create another iron furnace. We're going to put it right here. This is the fast one. If we go into our production menu, what do we change? Iron furnace, and then this name is broken. We'll fix that in a second. Now, the regular iron furnace does 24 cycles per month, has a capacity of 60 and 20. Ours has 240 cycles per month, 10 times, and has 10 times as much capacity. So we just made this production super fast. We'll fix the translations, and we'll do stacked pallets next. So we'll go in here, save. We'll fix translations because they're not working. And by the way, I quit with the console command because it quits instantly versus the normal quit, which does all kinds of other stuff. That's too long for me. I move fast. L10N, EN. So this is the translations. I don't know. You could just do EK. That's cool. Iron furnace fast. Fast. We're going to make it. We're basically adding a translation line for the iron furnace fast and for the. What's the other one called? The mining shaft tower fast. We're going to make our own translations. We're not going to translate all the other languages because that just takes too much time. Save. You don't need the L10N at the beginning. This. And then 9. Mining shaft fast. Is the mining shaft called the mining shaft fast? Oh, I just reversed them. Whoops. Let's find it. Why isn't it in here? That means it must be in the base game translation files, which are in the data directory, which we can't see. So I'm just going to call it that. Whatever. Doesn't matter. That fixes that. Okay. Then the next question was the one that Dawn asked, which was, how do I make stacked pallets? So what we're going to do is we're going to make stacked pallets for both versions. And if I want it for both versions, both the regular and the fast version, I need to make the changes here in the original version. So this is the original version of the file. Stacking happens right here. So I'm going to do stuff ahead of myself, and then we're going to fix it later. Okay? So right here is your spawn pallets. So your pallet spawner defines places that can spawn. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to do this. And I'm going to paste. So I'm going to have pallet start 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. Then I'm going to do 1A, 1B, 1A, 1B, 2A, to B, A, B. Okay. So basically what I'm doing is separate what I've changed from what was already there. Spawn place 1, spawn place 2. Now, the order in which they go to the next area is defined here. The way these work is it fills up this spawn place, and then it moves to the next one. So the way these spawn places will work is it'll fill up the first level of the first spawner, and then it'll go to the first level of the second spawner, whatever's in the second spawner. So if we wanted to go bottom row, bottom, back row, bottom, if we wanted to go from the first row to the second row, that's fine. If we wanted to go first row, second row, first row, second row, first row, second row, like first row, second row, first row, second, as we're going up, then this is the way we do it. If we wanted to just do the whole first row, stack it in stacks of 3, and then go to the second row in stacks of 3, then we'd have to change the order here. I'm going to go the first row, stacks of 3, second row, stacks of 3, so that I'm making stacks sooner than later. Okay? That's what I'm doing. And then we're going to come in here, and we're going to go copy, and we're going to do the same thing. We're pasting in the middle to make sure the order is right. Okay? And I'm going to end up creating a bunch of nodes in the model to deal with the stacking pallets. So A, B, C, whoops. A, B, B. So the one without a letter is the first level. The A is the second level. B is the third level when we're stacking. And so for these, this should be for 1, for 2. These are going to be in order. 3, 4, 5, 5. Okay, so I'm doing this ahead of time. Basically what I'm doing is I'm mapping these strings that I'm using for the pallet spawning up here, down here, and this maps to something that's going to be in the file. It's not in the file yet because I haven't added it yet. We're going to add it right now. So I'm going to come in here to Silverrun Forest Productions, Placeables, brand list, production points generic, whatever. I don't like that path, but I don't care. I'm leaving it alone for now. No, not the mining shaft tower. I went to the wrong one. Iron furnace. We're going to go into the iron furnace.i3d. This is a simple change, and I'll show you how to do it. It's really, really easy. It only takes a few minutes. Well, we're going to get the stacked pallets in like less than a few minutes. So I'm going to go into iron furnace. I'm going to search for spawn, the pallet spawner. I'm going to find the pallet spawner. Clear that. And now I have spawn area start 1, spawn area start 2. And it appears that if it's same as it was in FS22, where the spawn areas are in front of the building, right? And then the warning stripes are also here. So if you look, the warning stripes, and if we want to see the warning stripes, we can make this so we can see them. We come in here and do this. This is where it's going to spawn the pallets. And it's going to spawn 2 rows of pallets inside these warning stripes. So spawn the first pallet in this corner against closer to the wall, and the second row forward, less close to the wall. And then the end is towards the end. So it's spawning them in this row, right? So all I'm going to do is what we did before. We did the same thing we did in the game that we did in code. So I'm going to take spawn area 1 and I'm going to copy it twice. Whoops. And then you click back here, spin it again, and then take this and this. And remember, the order matters. So we want the order to 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, right? And we need that order. That order is super important. And it's important because we already wrote XML code to match that order. This one is 1A. This one is 1B. This one is 2A. This one is 2B. Now, we haven't moved them at all. They're at the same point the other one was. So the way I've worked out this math in multiple different ways. But The other thing to remember is that these pallets are going to crash and burn, right? We'll fix the crash and burn part. Iron pallets don't stack. Fact of the matter. I will put I have a stacking version of this pallet, and I'm just going to put it in here just for funsies. So we'll see it spawn. So yes, I know the stacks are not going to work. We're going to fix it. So the key here is the translate Y. So Y is the vertical height. If I change this to 1 and this to 2, then you don't really see much change. But if you look at it down at this level, basically what I'm saying is the second layer, I wanted to start about 1 meter up. And the third layer, I wanted to start 2 meters up, not liters. Same here. So if I want 1A, 6A, I don't want it ground level. I want it up 1 meter. This one up 2 meters. And that's the way the stacked spawn pallet stack mod works. It does all of this stuff mathematically. This is how you do it manually in a mod. And that's it. So I'm going to save. And then if you remember, 540, this is 541, 542, 543, 544, 545, which relates to the stuff we did ahead of time, 544, 545. So all of that's good. All of that's set up. Everything is great there. And then the last thing we have to fix now, because we're going to break it ahead of time, essentially, is our pallet for the steel. The metal pallet is not so great because it doesn't stack. So I already have a stacking version of that pallet. So I'm just going to copy in my stacking version of the pallet that I created on my own with no one else's help. Just for this example, I can give you this as it's a separate mod, but I'm going to put it into this mod just so we see it for now. So come over here, this one. So where is it? GitHub. Z stackable pallets. i3D metal pallet stackable. This one. And this. I think I need all three. So this. Copy. This. Paste. So there's the metal pallet and the metal pallet stackable. We're having them both in the same folder. And then for metal pallet XML, I'm changing this to metal pallet stackable. And so now we're using my stackable version instead of the regular version. That's all we're doing. Yes, it is going to console. No, it is never going to come to console, Bill T. Not because I don't want it to. Because, and it's not because Giants doesn't want them to either. It's because Sony and Xbox have restrictions on script-based mods being deployed, pushed to both Xbox and PlayStation. So you don't like it, talk to Sony and Xbox. That's never going to change. So script-based mods like Spawn Pallet Stacked or Auto Drive or Contract Boost, they will never make it to console because of Sony and Xbox. It has nothing to do with Giants. Unless Giants wants to push the issue and get them to do it. But the only way script-based mods make it to console is if they're approved by approved partners. So like as an example, a script-based mod that did make it to console would be Pumps and Hoses. Pumps and Hoses was script-based. It made it to console. It was done by a third party, but that's a third party partner with Giants, not a modder like myself. So the only way that stuff does go to console is if Giants writes it and tests it themselves and approves it for release, which is never going to happen for an external modding company. And I'm sure that, you know, Creative Mesh has some kind of partnership deal with Giants. Anyways, we've updated the metal palette to be the stackable version because we just copied in our stackable version of it. My stackable version just adds some framework to it to make it stackable. And then the other thing we did was we made the iron furnace now have this pallet stacking. But the cool thing is this is why I do the fast version this way. I just made a change to the base iron furnace, which means that my fast version is also going to automatically get those changes without actually writing any code. So because I changed the base one, that functionality and those features automatically go to the extended one, the one where you're using the parent file directive to extend it. You basically say, hey, use the original, but make these minor changes. Since those changes are separate and unrelated, they automatically go. So when we load into the game now, if everything goes correctly, we should see stacking pallets at the both iron furnaces, both the new one and the original one on Sri Lanka. If the game ever loads. Okay. I don't know, does everyone have that problem with the game loading? It takes forever. Yeah, I haven't checked out the crawfish production yet. There was a fish farm in the last version of the game, but not crawfish. So as you can see, we have our iron furnaces. Nothing has changed. We did break the spawn area because I forgot to change something. So these little things might look weird. See, there's 2 layers. The reason there's 2 layers is because in here I forgot to turn off this visibility thing. Yeah, right here, this non-renderable. No, hit save. There's no way I could try to reload the production point, but I don't care. So anyways, so let's add some. How do we test this without actually filling up the production point? That takes too long. That's too much effort. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do it with the console commands. Production point list. We have 2. We have the iron furnace and the iron furnace fast. Right. So those are the 2 production points. We are the owner of both. So we're gonna do GS production set fill level all. We're gonna do 100,000, and we're gonna come back here and we're gonna do GS production point set fill level for 13, all 10,000, and then we're gonna do 14. Sorry about the thing. I must have forgot something in the XML. It's not a big deal. I'll fix it in another version. But as you can see, we have stacked metal roll pallets on this one and on this one. Both of them are stacking multiple rows of pallets, and both of them are stacking them in nice, neat rows. Now, personally, I would probably move this row a little bit in this way and move this row a little bit in that way. But we just fixed multiple problems all at once. Number 1, stacked pallets. Doesn't that look fantastic? That looks absolutely fantastic, right? Giants, why would you make a pallet that doesn't stack? So all I did was add a frame around the pallet so that it stacks. That looks fantastic, doesn't it? And then, because we did it in this parent file directive, both the original one, which is where I made the changes, and this new one, both got the update. They both got the same benefit because I'm using that parent file directive. If not, I would have had to make the changes in both places. So if we go into here and look at our productions, iron furnace is here. This is the original one, 20,000 liters. This one had 200,000 liters. So when I set the fill level all, I basically set the incoming and outgoing all at once to be maximum. I put in 100,000 liters, but the metal only accepts 20,000 liters. That's why this one only has 20 pallets, and this one has 45, 46 pallets? 48 pallets, maybe? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 3, 28 times 2, 54 pallets. All right, so that's why one of them has more pallets than the other, because this one only supports 10,000 liters or 20,000 liters. This one supports 200,000 liters, which means that there's 100,000 liters more, or it's 58,000 liters. So there's extra in there. So basically, the whole 42,000 liters, how many we spawned? I did my math wrong. So we've spawned 42 pallets here and 28 pallets over here. Or 20, we spawned 20 pallets here, 42 pallets over here. It's because they hold different amounts, but the idea is this one is super fast, and if we turn them on, this should be, if we activate this one and this one was already active. No, it wasn't. If we activate this one, we activate the 2 recipes, you can also see how fast they're going, right? This one is working super slow, right? Like we're at 0.5. Let's go up to like 10 or so. So I'm at 10 speed. You can see this one is producing 4. It's like 3 liters every tick. This one is producing 30 liters every tick or more. So 3 times as much, or 10 times as much. Whiskey Creek Farms, thank you so much for upgrading or continuing your membership. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate all of the support. The support that all of you guys give me means everything. But as you can see, we basically made Iron Furnace fast, Iron Furnace. And we've gotten stacked pallets with my cool stacking metal pallets. And we could do the same for all of the rest of these productions. So maybe before I share the zip file with you guys, I will make the same changes we made to all of the buildings we've made so far, with the stacked pallets, for all the stuff that can stack. I think a couple of them can't stack, but I'll stack them all, and I'll make fast versions of everything. And that way, you guys can have these productions on any map, anywhere. So we added this on Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka doesn't support these crops. But because we're adding in fill types, we're adding the density map types, we're adding all the stuff that's important, we've now made it so that you can put these productions on any map. And sure, I'll try to submit it to Giants, see if they accept it. They probably won't. But, okay. I mean, I'm doing something they should have done themselves. Why didn't they take Silverrun Productions and make it separate mod so that it can be on any map? I would love to have all of this extra stuff on every map. Why not? Especially for forestry maps. To be able to make bathtubs and blah, 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 blah. All that stuff. Why not? And the other thing to remember is all of this stuff will be sellable. And it'll be sellable on any map because the fill types adds it. So right here in the fill types, selling station products. So anytime there's a selling station that sells products, a sell-all, or like a farmer's market, which uses this fill type category when it sells, that means all of this extra stuff, all of these extra things we're creating, are sellable on those things. Which makes sense. It makes it logical, which makes it important. And then the other one that would be fun to do as maybe a separate mod is maybe I'll do a separate mod that's Silverrun Forest placeables. And I'll do all of the farmhouses that are on Silverrun. I'll do the boat place and the roller coaster. Maybe we can do that next week. And then also, I want to do those bridges. There's 2 really cool bridges on Silverrun. There's a really tall... There's 3, actually. There's a metal bridge. It's like a blue-greenish metal bridge. There's a big concrete bridge on one of the roads. And there's also a big rickety wood bridge. Really tall, long bridges. And I think those bridges would be fun to have on many other maps that have places where you want a bridge. And to be able to make them. And the cool thing we could do, and this is something that no one else has tried and no one else has done yet, but hypothetically we could actually make those bridges. We could, if we tried hard enough, we could make them into something that you could build. So You want a wooden bridge? You got to provide. Here's the bridge. It's already here on a map. You have to provide the wood to build the bridge, and you have to submit pallets and pallets and pallets, right? So whatever. That all could be done. Not a big deal. But anyways, this is everything that you need to do, and you could follow this guide along and do the same thing. Now, the one thing to call out here is this would work on any map, not just Silverrun Forest. So let's say you have, I'm trying to think of it. What's a good example? Who knows a good example of a map on ModHub that has custom productions on it? Anyone have a good example of that? I'm trying to think. There aren't very many. Racking my brain here. Alma, maybe? Did Alma have custom production? Yeah. So let's say Alma. All right, that's a good example. Thank you, Whiskey Creek. Alma had that ice cream shop or whatever, right? Alma had like an ice cream shop, and it was a production on the dairy production made ice cream. You could take that stuff off of Alma, put it into an external map, and as long as you get the fill types, and you get the density map types, if you need a density map type for something that tips to the ground, as long as you get the fill types and the production, then you could take that production as a package, just like we did today, and be able to put it on any map, which just gives you more options for gameplay, right? I always hate to see, or not hate, so it's a strong word. It's always a bummer to see a map come up with really cool ideas and really cool extra features, like iron tipping, but have them be stuck on that map. This mine shaft thing looks super cool, and yeah, it's called Iron Peaks Mining. But what if we had 5 of these? What if I had one of them that was this color blue, green, teal, whatever, toothpaste colored? This one is iron. What if we did another one that was coal and we made it black? What if we did another one that was limestone and made it gray? What if we did another one that was, I don't know, some other type of fill type that we want to just spawn yada yada yada? Go for it. You could take this thing and recolor it, salt, sand, whatever. You could take this thing and either just use the exact same building, but personally I want to see them different. You could take this same heap spawner, recolor this building, and then have multiple things that spawn out. And as long as you make it spawn out something that tips to the ground, go for it. I mean, you could make a corn dryer if you wanted to, and you could have it spawn dry corn out of a spout. Why not? And make it a pile on the ground that you have to pick up. Who cares? The production point, we saw this earlier in the mod desk. This right here. Does anyone know what this is for? There's a hint. It's on Silverrun. There is a production point on Silverrun that has a heap spawner. Does anyone know what it is? I'm going to leave that you guys to figure out. This is on Silverrun. There is a production point on Silverrun that spawns out a heap of something. Let me know in the comments below. If you've watched this far, thank you so much. Let me know in the comments below if you can figure it out. I think Dawn just got it. Yeah. The sawmill. The sawmill that has the water pool pond. The other end of that sawmill has a spawner that tips out wood chips into an area. So the production point spawns out wood chips based on the what was in the production. Cool, right? Anyways, that's gonna be it for me today. I need to go get some other stuff done. I want to say thank you for everyone for coming by. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining the stream. This has been fun. I will share this mod once I'm done with it, probably later today or over the weekend, on my Discord. So if you're not a member of the Discord, feel free to feel free to Discord. If you're not a member of my Discord, feel free to join the Discord. And I want to say a special thank you to all of the people, all of my AI members. So always involved, awesome individuals, amazing impact. And the first one so far, Whiskey Creek Farms, you are the #1 first altruistic investor. You're the first person to actually sign up for that level of sponsorship. So a special thank you and a hashtag out for Whiskey Creek Farms. Thank you very much for sponsorship. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out on Discord. I'm happy to answer them. And until next time, catch everyone later. Bye-bye.